The top 5 things that you need to keep track of if you're a public adjuster, if you have a public adjusting firm, or if you're just running a company in regards to claims and public adjusting. There's only 5. There's a lot of other things, but there's really just 5 that you need to keep track of. And let's go over those 5 right now in 3, in 2, in 1. What's up, advocates? My name is Vince Perri and welcome to the Commercial Claims Show, and I am so excited about the topic that we have for you today. And today I want to talk about the top 5 things you need to keep track of. Now, we have a scorecard. This is what we use for our scorecard. These are the top 5 things that we keep track of. It's honestly something that you can keep track of it on your CRM. You can keep track of it in a lot of different places, but we're just so used to having it on a spreadsheet that we've been able to keep track of it. I'm going to tell you those top 5 things. Are you ready? Claims signed, claims closed, settlement amounts, estimate amounts, and total revenue. And what I really want to tell you before I get into it and each and every single one, I want to tell you that I'm very, very excited about our new operations course that we're going to be launching in just a couple of weeks. There is a link below for you to register for what we're doing. Is going to be a killer webinar where I'm going to go in depth to all of the operations and how we run elite resolutions and how I've ran a public adjusting firm for basically the last 15 years and how I can help you run that firm as well. So you're going to want to click that link below and take a look at it. First and foremost, the most important one, or the 2 most important ones, are claims signed and claims closed. The best way to understand sort of the health of your company and the health of your firm and making sure that you're keeping it up and signing claims the way you're supposed to is really with claims signed. Now, you also want to make sure that you have quality claims signed. You also want to make sure that they're worth enough money to be fruitful for you and to be profitable for you. There's a lot of public adjusting firms out there that only do commercial losses and large losses, and quite frankly, you can't blame them. And the reason why you can't blame them is a lot of overhead for a public adjusting firm when you're handling a lot of small losses, and also a lot of small losses. If you're signing too many claims, that's going to require a lot more review, a lot more administration help, which could potentially be a lot more overhead. But however, with that said, it's still very important to keep track of the amount of claims that you are signing because you want to have a consistent lead flow. If you're a one-person show, my goal was always 5 claims a month, but I want to make sure that I'm actually signing 5 claims a month. I want to make sure that I know that did I sign any claims last week? Did I sign any claims 2 weeks ago? How much do I have to hustle this week? How much do I have to hustle next week to try to get to my 5? It's really good to keep track of it. And what we have is an entire tracker week by week by week of how many claims that we sign. Also, once you get enough data, you could see how many claims you need to sign to really stay good, to stay afloat. Not just stay afloat, but to stay prosperous. I'm always of the impression it's not so much about getting rich, it's about not having to worry about money anymore. And what if 3 claims per month is enough for you to not have to worry about money anymore, right? You'll get a good understanding. Well, this was a good year, this is a bad year. Well, I signed 300 claims this year. I only signed 50 claims this year. You know what I'm saying? So it's just good to keep track of. The next thing is claims closed. One thing that we've done, I've been able to see how long it takes for a claim to actually open and close. By keeping track of your claims closed and by keeping track of your claims signed, you're knowing when you're opening that claim and you're knowing when you're closing that claim. You can take an average and you can get an idea of how long it takes for you to close a claim. And if it's taking too long, you could think of different steps and different ways that you could use to try to ultimately close those claims a lot faster. And I just want to throw it out there again. I really, really am excited about what we're putting together. I'm going to get in depth into this. I'm going to share spreadsheets and share information and stories and all kinds of stuff for a killer webinar that we're going to do that is absolutely free. So you can take a look at all of our operations. And the only way that you can get this is if you click in the link below. It's in the description. Guys, this is like once in a lifetime thing where I want to take you behind the scenes into the way that we run and that I've run the small public adjusting firm, the larger public adjusting firm, and just different ways that you could run your public adjusting firm from an operational side. So guys, don't miss it. You want to be it. I just wanted to shout that out again. The third thing that we keep track of is settlement amounts. So important. I want to know how much we're settling for. I want to know how much dollars we've had. It's a great sales pitch. The next time you're in a B&I meeting, you're talking to somebody, hey, I settled $3 million in claims over the last year. I've settled $10 million in claims over the last 2 years. That sounds like a crazy number. Those are your settlement amounts. That's how much the actual claim settles for. Very important to know. Very important to tell others how much you're actually settling claims. Very important to know that you're actually settling claims as well. So settlement amounts is another one that we keep track of. The fourth one is our estimate amounts. Why is that? You want to get a good idea of how much you're actually settling your claims based on the estimate that you put together, okay? Obviously, we all know it's no secret. We put together an estimate and the insurance company puts together their own estimate, and more often than not, their estimate is a lot smaller than our estimate, and we're negotiating back and forth to try to settle the claim. Now, some public adjusters out there, go ahead and leave your nasty comment below if you like. You do not settle for anything less than 100%. That's great. Awesome. That means you're putting very accurate estimates together, and that's fantastic. Maybe you're a contractor and maybe you really like to fight and you really like to battle and you refuse to take anything less, and by all means, if that's your style, that's great. But a lot of public adjusters out there in the country do have some room for negotiation and are willing to settle a little bit less for what they actually wrote up than what is actually settled for. The point I'm trying to make is that it's good to get an idea of a certain percentage that you're actually settling for based on your estimate. Are you settling for 99% of your estimate? That's great. Are you end up settling for 80% of your estimate most of the time? That's not a bad figure either. Whatever that may be, making sure that you have an understanding that the numbers are clear, that you could actually see them, also will give you an idea where, hey, I wrote up $300,000 in estimates over the last month. That means I know, based on my previous 2 years of settling claims at 90% of my estimate, I've got this much money coming. That makes sense? That's why it's very important to keep track of your estimate amounts. Everybody needs an attorney on their side. So whether you're a public adjuster, a contractor, or anyone else in the insurance claims business, make sure that you have an attorney that you could rely on, that you can go to for questions whenever you need it. That guy for me for the last 12 years has been David Farber. David Farber is the owner of the Farber Law Firm, and he has been there for me from the beginning of my career until now. And I would love for him to be able to help you as well. So make sure you call him at this number here and visit his website so you can learn more about the amazing David Farber of the Farber Law Firm. And the last one, the fifth one, probably the most important one, is overall revenue. Just gross revenue, whatever it is that your percentage is. So if you work under a firm, you want to basically, if I were you, I'd take whatever your percentage is. What is your gross revenue? If you're the owner of the firm, then you're going to want to take whatever the percentage is that you're getting, the 10 or 20% off the whole claim. But get an idea of what your overall revenue is. It's just good to know. It's good to have. Now, I only went top 5 here. I'm not talking about expenses, right? Because that would be another one that you obviously want to keep track of, so you could keep track of your actual net profit that you get from the overall revenue that you receive. However, if you have an idea of what your expenses are, if you don't have a lot of expenses, it's always good for that first number in regards to revenue to be your gross revenue. What is the gross revenue that you are making? And it'll give you a good idea of, based on how many claims you signed and how many claims you closed, this is the overall gross revenue generally that I'm going to be getting. So that's pretty much it, guys. I really wanted to take you a little bit behind the scenes into the top 5 numbers that we keep track of, that I have kept track of. I can look at it here literally for the past, at least for the past 4.5 years, right? Of just these 5. These are the 5, right? So it's really important to keep track of these numbers because it's going to give you an overall health of where you are with your company and where you're going forward. But like I said, I had been looking for an accountant for years and I was unable to find anybody that I liked, that I worked with, and was able to do what I needed to be done to my taxes and to my accountant. Jeremy David at Noble Wealth has been a godsend to me, my family, and my company. We have saved so much money in taxes I can't even begin to describe, and he knows what he's doing. You need to call Jeremy at Noble Wealth and get yourself the right accountant, because he's the man who's going to help you save on taxes. Because ultimately, you don't want to be making money, especially if you're self-employed, and having it all go to the IRS. Call Jeremy, call Noble Wealth, and they will help you tremendously with the entire accounting process and your tax situation from A to Z. I'm going to go into all kinds of stuff in regards to SOPs, organization, calendar management, time management, and claims flow and status updates and all kinds of stuff in the free webinar that I'm really, really excited about. So guys, come join me. I'm like putting it all together as I'm shooting this video, and it's going to be killer. So I want you to make sure you click on the link. We've got a super cool operations guide. It's called Efficiency Hacks and How Public Adjusters Can Scale Their Time, Their Business, and Their Money. I'm actually looking at it right now, and I'm really excited because it is freaking cool. We're talking about identifying inefficiency, digital tools for optimization, streamlining communication, improving documentation, and it's all for free. You could go ahead and you could get this. You're going to like it. It's just 5 pages of a lot of information that I think you could use in your firm right now as we speak. And yeah, and for that, you could obviously also come to our webinar and check that out. So we're really excited. There's so many things going on at CCA, it's like ridiculous. But we're back to this actual video. Top 5 numbers that you need to keep track of: claims signed, claims closed, settlement amounts, estimate amounts, and revenue. Guys, you keep track of this stuff on a weekly basis. Look at it every week and make sure that you're staying on track towards your goals, towards your freedom, towards your success, and towards an overall better life. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned next week when we got more operation stuff coming. Well, I hope you learned a lot of that show. There is so much in store for you in this channel. If you just fall into that rabbit hole, we've been doing this for 4 years. Click on one of these links here in front of you and see how much more you can learn on the Commercial Claims Show.